learning English can feel scary. Especially when it comes to speaking. Maybe your heart beats faster. Maybe your mouth goes dry. Maybe you forget everything you learned. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. We've all been there. And today, we're going to help you with that fear. Through a simple story and some helpful ideas, we'll make speaking English feel less like a mountain and more like a small hill. But before we start, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, hit that little bell icon so you don't miss a video, and like this one if you're ready to grow your confidence in English. Let's begin. There was a girl named Rena. She was from a small town where no one spoke English. She had always loved the language. She watched movies with subtitles, listened to music in English, and read short stories with a dictionary next to her. Her grammar was okay. She knew the rules. She even understood most of what people said in videos. But when it came to speaking, everything changed. She would open her mouth to say something, and nothing came out. The fear would show up quietly at first. A little worry in her chest. Then her palms would get sweaty. Her brain would shout, "You'll make a mistake," or "They will laugh at your accent," or "Your English is not good enough." So she stayed quiet. Even when someone asked her a question, she would just smile and say nothing. This continued for years. In school, she would avoid group activities where she had to speak. In online classes, she kept her microphone off. At her part-time job, when a tourist asked for help, she would run and hide behind the shelves. The fear was bigger than her English. One day, something small changed everything. It wasn't a big event. No special teacher, no magical trick. Just one afternoon, Rena was at a cafe, reading a book. She looked up and saw a tourist trying to ask the cashier for directions. The cashier looked confused. The tourist looked even more confused. And before she could stop herself, Rena stood up and said, "I can help." The words came out simple. Not perfect. A little shaky. But they came. The tourist smiled. Rena gave the directions in short, easy English. The tourist said thank you and left. The cashier smiled at her. Rena sat down again, heart still racing, but something had changed. She had spoken. She had faced the fear. It wasn't easy. It wasn't perfect. But it was real. Later that night, Rena thought about it. She didn't suddenly become a fluent speaker. But she realized something important. The fear was not about English. The fear was about what people might think. About making mistakes. About not being perfect. That night, she made a decision. She wouldn't wait to feel ready. She would speak anyway. The next day, she recorded a voice message in English for her language partner. Just a simple introduction. She listened to it 3 times before sending it. Her hands were shaking. But she sent it. He replied, "Great job." 2 days later, she joined a free online speaking club. She didn't talk much at first. But she introduced herself. The other learners smiled and nodded. No one laughed. No one corrected her rudely. Everyone was kind. And just like that, the fear began to shrink. She didn't wake up one day without fear. It was still there. But now, it was smaller than her courage. So how did Rena do it? How can you do it too? Let's talk about it. The first thing to understand is this: fear is normal. Every English learner feels afraid to speak at some point. Even people who have studied for many years still feel nervous before a presentation or a conversation. Fear doesn't mean you're weak. It means you care. But fear becomes a problem when it stops you from trying. One of the most helpful ways to manage this fear is to shift your focus. When you speak English, don't try to be perfect. Try to be clear. Try to be friendly. Try to connect. Perfection is not the goal. Communication is. Another thing that helps is preparation. If you know you'll need to speak English at work or at school, practice some common sentences in advance. You don't have to memorize big speeches. Just small things, like how to introduce yourself, how to ask a question, how to explain something simple. When you practice often, your brain starts to feel more comfortable. Rena used to practice in front of the mirror. She would say, "Hi, my name is Rena. I'm from Indonesia. I'm learning English because I want to travel." She repeated this sentence every morning. At first, it felt silly. But over time, it became easy. You can do the same. Pick a few simple sentences. Practice them every day. Not once. Not twice. But again and again. Let your mouth get used to the sounds. Let your ears hear your own voice. It may feel strange at first, but this is how confidence grows. Another tip: slow down. When you're nervous, your brain wants to rush. But you don't have to speak fast to sound fluent. In fact, slowing down helps your brain find the right words. It helps the other person understand you better too. Speaking slowly is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of control. Rena also learned this the hard way. At first, she tried to talk fast, thinking it would make her sound more fluent. But she just ended up making more mistakes. Then she decided to speak slowly, with pauses. And guess what? People understood her better. She felt more relaxed. Another idea that helped her was to speak English even when no one was listening. She would talk to herself while cooking. "Now I am cutting the onion. The knife is sharp. I need a plate." She would describe her actions, her feelings, or even make up stories. Speaking out loud trains your mouth and brain to work together. It builds confidence in private, so it becomes easier in public. You don't need a partner for this. You can practice anytime, anywhere. The more you use your voice, the less scary it feels. And here's another truth: mistakes are your friends. This might sound strange, but mistakes are how we learn. If you wait until your English is perfect, you'll never speak. Even native speakers make mistakes. What matters is that you keep going. Rena used to cry after making mistakes. She felt embarrassed. But then she started to see them as lessons. Each time she said something wrong, she thought, okay, next time I'll say it better. This change in mindset made a huge difference. So if you make a mistake, smile. Learn from it. And keep talking. Another helpful thing is to find a safe space to speak. This could be an online group, a language partner, or a friend who is also learning. In a safe space, you can practice without judgment. You can be yourself. You can laugh at your mistakes. You can grow without pressure. Rena joined a small online speaking circle. They met once a week. Everyone was a beginner. They shared stories, talked about their day, and helped each other with new words. It wasn't perfect, but it was powerful. When you speak in a friendly space, your fear gets smaller. Your confidence grows. And finally, remember your reason. Why do you want to speak English? Maybe you want to travel. Or study abroad. Or get a better job. Or connect with people from other countries. Whatever your reason is, write it down. Say it out loud. Keep it close to your heart. Because when the fear shows up again, and it will, you can remind yourself, I'm not doing this to be perfect. I'm doing this to grow. To connect. To live fully. Rena still feels nervous sometimes. But now she speaks anyway. She knows that every word she says makes her stronger. Every sentence is a step forward. And you can take those steps too. So if you're afraid of speaking English, you're not alone. But you don't have to stay silent. You don't have to wait until you're ready. You can speak now. Start small. Practice often. Be kind to yourself. And keep going. Your English voice is inside you. Let it out. And if this video helped you feel a little braver, share it with a friend who needs it too. Leave us a comment about your experience with speaking English. What scares you? What helps you? We read every comment, and we reply when we can. And remember, we upload new videos every day to help you grow your English with simple, useful stories and lessons. So don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, and keep learning with us, one brave word at a time.